Hello and welcome to the 33rd tutorial in Microsoft Visual Basic .NET Programming Tutorials, and this tutorial is going to follow up on the previous tutorial about settings. So if you follow the previous tutorial correctly, you should have this code typed already and this layout. But if you don't, then please watch the previous tutorial by clicking the annotation now. Okay, if you watched the previous tutorial, then we can continue. The first use of settings we're going to apply is we're going to greet the user with their actual name. So to do this, we're going to add another form. So add Windows form, and we've been over how to connect forms, so you should know this. We'll call this changename.vb. Okay, and what we're going to allow the user to do is change their name, and we're going to store their name as a setting. So go to the Solution Explorer, right click Application Settings, go to Properties and set the value set the name. Oh, actually, sorry, we're just gonna undo this, leave that one. We're going to declare a new setting as username. I'm just going to set it as George. Set it as that. Okay, and once we've done that, we can go back to the form 1. Now in this form, in label 1, we want it to display, well, we're going to delete this code first so we can just start from scratch. But if we double click form 1, we want it to display label1.text equals hello and welcome to the application. And then we're going to close the quotations, then use a ampersand, which will allow us to use a variable, or in this case a setting, and we're going to say my.settings.username, and this is going to say, okay, hello and welcome to the application, and then the saved username. And we're going to put a space here as well to make it look more neat. Okay, so now this says, okay, welcome to the application George. What if the person isn't called George? Well, here we're going to delete this text box, and this button we're going to put down here, make it a bit bigger, and we're going to change the text to change name. Okay, and what this is going to do is link to the change name form. So we'll double click button 1 and change the text to change name.show. And this is just going to show this form, you should know that. Okay, now in this form, we're going to use the same method we used last time, and we're just going to add a text box and a button, and we're going to change the button text to change, and just resize this. And now double click this button in the change name form, and we're going to say my.settings.username equals textbox1.text. And because it's a setting, application setting, it acts as like a global variable, so we can access it in any form, anywhere. So if we build this, this should say welcome to the application George, and you must try to reopen this folder, go back to the other video, and if you don't know how to access this folder, but this is how you access the build folder. If you open this, it'll say hello and welcome to the application George. But what if we want our name isn't George, you want to change it to Chris? We click the change name, and then we'll put Chris here and hit change. Now if we close this and reopen it, it says hello and welcome to the application Chris. Now that's just one method we can use it, but what if we want to use a more advanced method? Well, in this part we're going to go over how to create a password protected form and then allow the user to change the password. So let's just go back to the first form. This is going to be the login form, so delete label 1, and we'll delete the code in a minute, and go into form on here, delete this code, and then here we'll just add a text box and keep this button, but change the text to log in. and we're going to add the label. Please enter your password. Okay, and now we're going to go into Solution Explorer, Application Settings, right click, Properties, and we're going to add a new application settings called Password, and we're going to give it the value of password 123. Not very secure, but this is just a test, so we'll leave it as that. Okay, now we wanted to show this change name form. I'm actually going to rename this to change password. Just right click it and rename, change it to change password. So we want, when we click this button, we want it to show change password if this password is correct. So we're just going to do this quickly. We'll double click button 1. We'll say if textbox1.text is equal to my.settings.password, then change password.show. Else messagebox.show invalid password. And you should know what all this means if you watch my other tutorials. If not, please watch them first. Well, this is just going to check that textbox1.text is equal to my.settings.password. So if we test this out, build it, go here, and say we type some random crap, it's going to say invalid password. But if we type password 123, it's going to show this form. Okay, so close this and let's go to the change password form. And this is really simple. We're going to use the same method as the change name. You do not have to delete any of the code. Just double click the button and we're going to say my.settings.password equals textbox1.text, and we'll just add a label up here to make it look a bit more professional. Please enter a new password, and we'll just ask them to enter a password there, and let's just test this out. We'll open the application. Password is password 123 as we set it, and then let's change the password to test. Change, close that and close that, and if we reopen it, please enter your password. Let's see, password 123. We've changed the password, so that won't work. So now we have to type test, and it's going to work. So that's just 2 ways, because I received some comments and messages about my applications being dull. Well, that's because of the time limit. I can't really go into teaching you really advanced things. I just want to go over the basics first so you understand everything. But yeah, that's just some ways you can use settings. Thanks for watching the video. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Just leave a comment. If you have any suggestions or requests, then leave a comment. And please rate the video and subscribe. Thanks.